Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the beautiful E100. I love the look of this tank. It's big, it's scary looking, it has a huge gun, and it is massive. It is everything you want in a tank. But it's also not. It has amazing armor, but it also has crap armor. Basically, many players jump in this tank and expect it to be an absolute powerhouse, and then they can't pen things because of the low penetration value, and they get penned left, right and centre because they're not using the armour correctly. So the armour sucks if you don't use it correctly. If you use the armour correctly, it is troll as hell. And it's the same with the gun. The AP only has 235mm of penetration, so it doesn't have the best penetration, and especially with the accuracy being bad. So you need to know which ammo to use in which scenario and circumstance. Which is why, when we see one of these on the battlefield, and it's not just me who's going to say this, it's either going to be played very, very well, or it's going to be played very, very bad. So it's either very easy to take out, doesn't do a lot of damage, or it's going to be a force to be reckoned with. So what I basically want to do is show you how I play the E100. Some of you will probably laugh, and some of you hopefully may pick up some things which they think they'll put into their gameplay and make it beneficial. Either way, I hope you find this one an interesting one. Now, I've had more requests in the comments over the last, I'd say, month or two for a review or guide on this tank than any other tank. But I have no gameplay for the E100 recorded, so I hopped in my E100 this morning before making this video and got some footage in, and one of the games was very, very fun. And I'm very pleased with that game, and that's obviously the mastery I'm going to put at the end of this game. The end of this video. That game is 8,200 damage in a 1 versus 3 scenario. And the 3 tanks I was left against was a Tortoise, a Leo, and another E100. And between them, they had about 4,000 health. And it was all close range combat. Now, the reason I'm referencing this is not to go, hey, look at me. The reason I'm referencing this is because what I feel is talked about too often in Blitz is the speed of, or mobility of tanks, penetration values, and DPM. What isn't referenced or talked about a lot, only from my personal experience, is armour and effective armour. And if I didn't use the armour in this circumstance in the way I feel it should have been used, I probably would have got nailed because I don't have the DPM to outgun 3 tanks. And that's what the E100 to me is all about. It's all about using the armour correctly. And obviously the E100 is very boxy. So it's perfect for angling and side scraping, and I do literally mean it is perfect for it. But already I imagine there are people who have gone, well, armour is irrelevant, I can just load premium ammo. But there's also some people who are watching this and saying, well, actually, no, you're talking nonsense, I always talk about the armour, blah 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 blah, etc, etc. It all falls down to your personal experience and probably what tanks you enjoy playing the most. So, as I have done already, I'm probably going to spend a lot of time talking about the armour, and also premium ammo. Obviously, because this thing has good armour, most people just load premium ammo and just launch it straight at the front of the tank. Also, this tank gets a lot of stick because people fire a lot of heat out of the front of it. The heat, well, it's very good, but it's very situational. You don't need to spam heat out of the front of this tank to make it a good tank. If you've got another E100 in front of you, you can pen the lower plates through the front of the track wheels all day long with AP. Obviously, with the heat, you won't go through the track wheels. Also, if you have an IS-7 in front of you, you're not going to pen those upper cheeks point blank with the AP on this tank. You are going to need to use the heat to do it reliably. And of course, the HE on this tank. It's great. It's very reliable at finishing off low health targets, and it's very fun to fire at soft squishy targets. So before we go into any further details, I just want to go through equipment, etc. Now, I run vents, rammer, and a vertical stabilizer. Your other option instead of the vents is a gun lane drive. I'd personally rather 5% to everything on the tank rather than just a 10% to the gun lane drive and obviously just the gun aiming time. Which is why I think the vertical stabilizers on this tank are a key choice with the vents and the rammer. In terms of ammunition, I run 24 AP and I carry 14 heat and 12 HE. That to me is a good all-round loadout which covers many different situations. And because I like to flick through the different ammo types very regularly in a battle, yeah, this ammo works perfectly for me. Provisions, I run double chocolates and improved fuel. You could use the protective kits because obviously these tanks are prone for fires, but I would rather my turrets turn quicker and the hull turn quicker so I can angle it better. And then onto consumables, double repair kits and adrenaline. So, into the trusty armor inspector. First thing to comment, this thing has 23 degrees of gun elevation and 7 degrees of gun depression. Obviously using the gun depression to its full will help with effective thicknesses, but again that is situational. Now we are firing at this using the AP of an IS-7 and we will look at the APCR in a minute. First things first, just above the gun you will see is a weak spot. You can shoot at it. I would personally say not to waste your time because more often than not it just damages the gun. If you find yourself in a close range brawl with this thing, especially if you're in something like an IS-7, aim for the turret ring. It's pretty much guaranteed pen every single time. Yes, you can just load APCR and go straight through the front cheeks, but if they're angling correctly and they're angling very well, your best bet is just to go straight for that turret ring. As you can see with the standard AP, you have a low chance of penetration. The other thing then, obviously, if you're not in a close range brawl and you don't want to use premium ammo, aim for the top view range bar. Again, this is also a weak spot. I haven't commented on the hull yet, we will do that afterwards, I just want to have a look at the turret here. Now for E100 drivers who want to use the turret correctly, you need to turn the gun away, like this. General rule of thumb, never ever point your gun at a tank unless you're about to fire at it. Always drive with the turret angled away from it. What I like to do as a point of reference is I try to point the corner of the turret at anything which is firing at me. So if there's a tank directly in front of me, I will point the corner of the turret towards it, and as you can see, we pretty much get ourselves into a situation where you're on auto bounce. That, of course, is just with the AP. Now we are firing at this thing with APCR, and the cheeks without any angling, you're going to penetrate 2 out of 3 times, if not more. But if we move the turret in the way I mentioned earlier, so you're pointing the corner of the turret at anything which is firing at you, which as a general rule of thumb will produce way more bounces, you'll notice the side is pennable now, but the front isn't. So you can't just point the corner and leave it. You have to wiggle like this, and you vastly increase the chances of a bounce. Yeah, you can see it flicking from green to red, and this is the optimal angle there, but you're never going to get the optimal angle every single time, so you don't have to wiggle. But when you're wiggling like this, it's just going to show up from pennable to non-pennable on their screen. So it really does help, and it produces so many bounces. So that's my best recommendation. Corner of the turret, pointing at anything which is firing at you, and just wiggle it left and right constantly. This is even more important if you are literally nose to nose with another tank. Doing that, I get a little bit of a groove on. It stops anything. You are most vulnerable in this tank when you are pointing your gun at something. So if you're about to fire and something's aiming at your turret, that is the time it's going to penetrate you. So let's have a look at the hull. Obviously the front is just one massive weak spot, which does set you on fire an awful lot. Although since the changes in 3.7, not as often. What they changed basically was putting it as a transmission rather than part of the engine module. So basically the engine doesn't take damage as often. Now in terms of the hull, you need to be angling the hull away as often as possible. As a general rule of thumb or a point of reference, aim the gun in line with the inside of the track. That will give you your point of reference for your optimal angle. Then obviously you know you've got your hull in the correct angle and you just turn your turret as required. The key thing with this, though, is hiding that big gaping weak spot at the front, either via behind rocks, dead tanks, side scraping off anything you possibly can. And even if you can't side scrape off something, you still should be angling that lower hull. And the reason you should still be angling it is because the tracks will absorb an awful lot of damage. That's enough theory crafting, though, if we put it in practice and see how it works. This first game, if I'm honest, is ridiculously intense. It's only intense because it's just so close. You'll note the very first thing I've done there is go straight to my heat, because I was firing straight at the front of an IS-7. Obviously I switched straight back though, so I'm not just going to spam the crap out of that heat. I will only use it when required. Now this IS-8, no, I'm not going to get a shot there. Now they've got B. I could have gone down to try and reset it or stop it, but I personally think by going down would have weakened this flank and would have allowed, basically, all the heavies up here to come and rush my heavies. So I'm going to get one shot into him and bounce off his side, which is just great. And I'm going to deal with this guy on the flank by here. Once we've dealt with him, I can then go and help the rest of my team again. As long as you're using your armor effectively, and there's another reason why I love the HE, straight in the butt, no problem at all. If you look after your health by bouncing as many shots as you can, those ones which you just can't bounce, you can take. With that 2,300 hit points, you can very comfortably and very reliably, and that one bounced as well, go figure. Goddamn bouncy AP on this tank. If you look after your hit points as much as possible by bouncing as many shots as you can, the ones you can't reliably bounce, you can afford to take, if that makes any sense. For example, I've just got nailed in the side by here by the IS-7. I'm not worried because, well, I still have plenty of hit points remaining, and as long as I'm trying to bounce as many shots as I can, it's not really a concern getting shot every once in a while. I've got two choices in this circumstance. I could try and help with this E100 by here, or I could point to that IS-7 just on the other side of the building. My priority is to help my teammate and get rid of one by there. Now you'll see I angled away from the IS-7 there, which again resulted in a bounce. Now we're helping the teammate, we've taken out the E100, and now we are going to focus the IS-7. And again you'll notice he's only done track damage, and I was angling my turret away. It all comes down to the angle, nothing but the angle. The only problem with being close range with an E100 is that I screwed up my shot there by putting it into the wrong cheek on that IS-7. Again, not a concern though, because with the angling, you just bounce. You bounce quite a lot. And I've just shot his gun. So that's 2 I've bounced against this IS-7. And that's 4 I've bounced in this game already. What's that, an average of about 2,400 damage I could have potentially obtained by now? Great. What I'm doing now is making sure they reliably go in by reversing to shoot and then pulling back in. He has only got 1 hit point, so I'm going to give him a quick love tap. And obviously the love tap finishes him off. There is an IS-8 on really low health, so I've loaded my HE and we're going to deal with him, which leaves just an FV4202 against me in an E100, an IS-7 and a mouse. Now you'd be forgiven for thinking, oh, this one's in the bag, 3 big heavy tanks versus 1 medium. However, that medium is very fast and we are very, very slow. And if you look at the supremacy points, they are way ahead of us. I say they, that FV4202 is now way ahead of us. So the IS-7's gone to B, and as soon as he's got B, I'm spamming C, and I'm making my way there as quick as I can. Now Mr. FV4202, he is not a stupid player. He is a clever player. He's not going to hang around. He is going to make his way around the map, obviously. Sitting in this spot with 3 heavy tanks coming towards him is just stupid. So I, regardless where he's going, need to get C as soon as I can. I mean, we're on just over 600 and they're on 910. We really, really need to cap this base, and we need to keep all of our bases secure now. Now the mouse has done the right thing. He's let us come and get C, and he is sitting there by B. Now he's moving towards to try and catch him. However, the reality is this tank is very, very fast. I say this tank, sorry, the FV4202. We know where he's going already. It's pretty much guaranteed, and any second now he's going to start capping A. So we are making our way as quick as possible to A. So we're now catching on supremacy points very quickly, but he's not going to need a lot. What's he on there? 930. And we're coming up 845. This is going to be very tight. We need to kill this guy very quick to win this one. I already saw the mouse go right, so I am going left. Let's see if we can pincer this guy in. I've got my AP loaded, but then I realise I have the back of him, so I've opened my ammo loadout just in case I can get a HE. And there he is. And I should have shot there, but I didn't. But oh my Christ, it is close on supremacy. I would just... I mean, that's ridiculous. He's on 990, he's on 995, and we're on 1000. That's just stupid. And that is easily the closest supremacy game I have ever had. But with capping the bases and doing 3,900 damage... And my favourite one there was the Scout Medal. We got a Scout E100. We managed to get ourselves a first class. And as we can see, we were hit 10 times. 4 did damage, 6 didn't. But out of the 4 that did damage, 2 of them did only track damage. So, on to the next one. This one we play, well, much more aggressively, and I think it's very important for an E100 to be aggressive, an E100 to be in the thick of it, and basically always to be a target. Now that is very circumstantial. I mean, there are circumstances you can't always be the target, but if you use your armor, your health pool to protect your friendlies, basically by being in the thick of it all the time, it allows your friendlies like your mediums and your tank destroyers to do their jobs. And that's exactly what an E100 is built for. The E100's job is to be sitting there, taking the damage, doing as much damage as it can. You'll see there, we shot the mouse, obviously, with heat in the cheek, and then as soon as we shot, we turned the turret and the hull away from him. But yeah, back to what I was saying about the E100. If you're playing the E100 on the back line, it's not a sniper tank. You're doing it wrong. I will go as far as saying, I beg you, please don't be the sniper E100. Obviously protect yourself, but push as much as you can. And if you can't push, get yourself in strong positions which help the team as much as you can. Now again, you're not always going to be able to do that, but I've come around this way now. A, because 3 of them are all behind a rock, so I'm not going to be very effective there. Here, there's 2 tanks on my left, and there's 2 tanks on my right, and one of my friendlies right in the middle. I'm much more effective here than I was sitting on those rocks up there. And obviously I'm not saying run in headfirst like a lunatic. That's not what I'm saying at all. Because if I run out now, I'm going to get nailed from this Centurion and this mouse. And then this Death Star is going to turn around and blow me to bits from the other side. But I'm still in a position now where I'm helping. If I stayed up there, I wouldn't have been any help whatsoever. But yeah, the short answer is, don't be Sniper E100. Nobody likes Sniper E100. So, on with the game. Obviously, I'm protecting my hull here behind the rocks, and I'm going to pop out every now and then when I need to, i.e. when I'm loaded, and take a shot into that mouse. The mouse has also been flanked through the middle by one of my friendly tanks, and if you look at the minimap in the very top left-hand side, one of my friendlies is cut off. I shoot a little bit too slow there, so I do miss out on the kill, but mouse is dead, so who cares? There's only 3 reds left. We know they're all up there. Scrap that. There's only 2 reds left. We know where they are. They're all up there in the top corner. So I'm going to make my way up by here to see if I can get shots down onto them, because there's already friendlies around the left-hand side and going around the right-hand side. In hindsight, coming up this hill very, very slowly probably wasn't a wise idea, but we're winning so far ahead, it's not really a major concern. Obviously, there's only 1 tank left now, which is the enemy E100. And I am going to go and try and ram him. He is the same tank as me, but still a heavy tank. And we do manage to do some damage to him. I've loaded my heat just so I can go through his front cheek. And obviously finish him off. Now, I didn't feel like I did a huge amount of damage in this battle. I feel like I put the tank in effective positions, but with such a high alpha gun, you don't fire it that often. And as a result, you don't feel like you do a huge amount of damage. But I think the 4,700 is very respectable. Which obviously was enough to net us a 2nd class there as well. Also 20,000 credits, which is not bad for a tier 10 tank. Okay, so we're on another supremacy game, and in this game, my team are going for B. I am not going for either base. What I am actually going to go for is to try and reset C. So if I can get eyes on C, I can do some damage and reset the cap. That's my theory anyway. It doesn't go that way. In fact, I completely screw up my shot. Yeah. What I should have done right by here is just fire HE, reset the cap, job's a good one. Instead, I saw the cheek and went, ooh, I can do that. As you can see, I didn't. And obviously my reload sucks. Well, I say it sucks. It's not that bad for a heavy tank with this much alpha. My reload is 13.7 seconds with the setup I have here. But it wasn't enough to reset the cap on C. Now, they're capping A and they are capping D as well. And I can see a Centurion by here, which means the Centurion is not alone, there is somebody in A. It's a case now trying to decide whether I go to A or D. I get one shot into that M48, and then I decide to go and head this direction to try and see what's over here. Being as I can't see what's over there yet, but I can see the Centurion, I decide to make a push on the Centurion. There are tanks on my right hand side, and I'm hoping if I push forward towards this Centurion, someone else will push with me as well. As we do push forward, IS-7 is spotted right in front of us, and then another IS-7 is spotted. So it's actually safer to go down and deal with the Centurion at this point, because we won't be able to get shot at by the other two IS-7s. Once he's dealt with, we can then push up me and this other IS-7 together, hopefully, and deal with those two IS-7s up by A. As I mentioned earlier though, I'm going to load heat. And the reason I'm going to load heat is because there's two IS-7s, and I cannot reliably penetrate the front of an IS-7 with the 233mm of penetration on this tank. I've opened my loadout again here because I was tempted to switch to HE. Although I can't penetrate him, I can still do about 200-300 damage to his turret just by shooting HE at him. So if you can't pen something but he's a long range, rather than just waiting for them to move, launch a HE shell their direction. And also, at this point I haven't closed it back up and I've gone to AP because there's stuff in the way. If I shot if I shot heat in that scenario there, I just would have either damaged the fence or that box in front of it. And I wouldn't have damaged the tank, which is why I fired the AP in that scenario. Which again is why I mentioned earlier it's very situational. Now I have gone back to the heat to put another one into him. So it's me and this IS-7 pushing up on these two IS-7s, which, as far as I'd be concerned, the rest of the tanks behind me are then covered by the rest of my friendlies. Sadly, that is not the case. One IS-7 is down, which leaves a full health IS-7 up by there, and I'm getting shot in the back. I can either turn around and get shot then by the IS-7, or I can push forward and hopefully get rid of whatever's on my arse, which just so happens to be a T-62. So I'm pushing the IS-7 in front of me, obviously to help this IS-7 and to try and get away from that T-62, who has taken all of my health very quickly. I would also love to know how that T-62 got past all of my team there. But at the moment I am safe from him, and I'm going to get one more shot into the IS-7, and I'm going to turn around, because you can pretty much guarantee that T-62 is making his way this way. So I'm going to side scrape it ready, load my AP, and there he is. Now, the trick with dealing with mediums in this tank is keep your angle, but don't let them past you. Whatever you do, don't let them past you. So, he's managed to get one into my track. He's still reversing, which in theory what he should have done is push towards me to get around me. But while I'm dealing with him, I've just noticed the IS-7 has dealt with my IS-7 behind him. So we quickly finish him off, and I'm going to turn this way ready to deal with the IS-7 coming around the corner. And there he is. Trying to angle away from him slightly there. He did manage to penetrate me, not enough to kill me, which means we can put one more heat into him and finish him off. And that is the end of the game. And I did spam a fair bit of heat there, but we are firing at IS-7s non-stop. I didn't fire heat at anything like the T-62. But for some reason, that 4600 and the steel wall got me a mastery badge. I'm not going to lie, there wasn't a lot of assistance damage here. I have no idea why I deserved the damage or the mastery in that scenario. But, you know what, I lost 12,000 credits in that one. I'll take the mastery badge. This is the interesting one, though. This game is fun. And to be honest, it all went bad from the start. Obviously, all my team went one way, which logically would be the right thing to do. I would hope one of the mediums would have spotted the middle, but nobody went to the middle. And the enemy team only have one medium. So, I would have hoped genuinely that one of my team would have spotted the middle and we would have known what's going where, but we didn't. We're all pushing this one direction. So being as I can see a Leo on the enemy team by there, I'm going to go up and I'm going to stop right by here to see if I can see the Leo popping up in the middle of the map. Because that's exactly what I would do. If I was in a Leo on this map, I would be going to the middle to spot what I can. Which is why I'm sitting by here with the loadout ready just to change to HE if I need to. I don't really have a good shot if he does appear though, so I'm going to relocate and again try and keep eyes on that middle. It also means I'm closer to my team if anything goes pear-shaped. So, there's not a Leo in the middle, there is an IS-8. It's too late to angle if I do want to get a shot into him. My return shot bounces though. So I do take some damage very early on. And my team is asking for help. I'm going to say affirmative and I'm going to go help him out with this E100 by here. As I intend to do that though, obviously there's an IS-8 by there, so as soon as I stick out a little bit, I am spotted. So I'm going to try and side scrape up against this building a little bit, and I'm going to see if we can see the IS-8 again and get a shot into him. As we poke out though, I notice that he's not even looking at me, so I'm going to get one shot into him. And I was really hoping, by putting a shot into him, he'd back off from the middle and go somewhere else. He doesn't though, so he's going to be a thorn in my side this entire game. And we have already been flanked. There is a waffle by there, so I have my HE ready and we're going to get a nice 900 plus damage into him. Now if I go right to help with those other E100s, that IS-8 is going to get a shot into the side of me. And if I go left, I'm going to get nailed by a Leo and a waffle. So I'm paying attention to those two, and I'm going to try and get some more damage into this guy by here. Get another round, one more AP into him as well then. You'll notice I'm constantly watching my left-hand side. The waffle on the enemy team has been dealt with. It is just a Leo by there who has now finished off the tortoise on my team. However, with the Leo on this side, we have also been flanked by an M103. And I have been spotted from behind these buildings, so we know the Leo is still there. So I'm going to back up again, and I'm going to try and deal with this IS-8. If I pushed out left to the other two, he'd be able to damage me. If I pushed out right, he would be able to damage me. So this is why I really want to deal with him. I do fire a heat there, or a HE, because I'm not going to pen him from where I was, so I was hoping that the HE would do some damage to him. I've shot one. I'm checking again to see if he's looking. He is. He just damages my track, and we do get the HE on his turret this time. Which means I'm going to back up, wait a second for the reload, and then come back out and try and deal the M103 and the Leo. Now my friendly pattern is now pushing the middle to try and get this IS-8. I want to get one shot over there. It doesn't work. M48 does get a shot in on him. And another one. And he doesn't finish off the IS-8. And now he's got an M103 chasing him and the Leo. So I really need to get across here and help. Bounce one from the tortoise, and which is why I'm backing up. I'm going to put my HE by here because I want to get the butt shot on that M103. But I'm not going to get it. Look, I just miss out. However, we can see the Leo. We're going to take one shot. Hey! I can't believe that hit. But we do bounce his return shot. Now, I've got tanks all around me by here. We've got 3 tanks remaining. They have 4. So I'm going to side scrape off the middle. And the easiest one to take out first will be this M103 on the high ground. So, we bounced another shot there and managed to take out that M103. There's a Leo on my left, and we have an E100 and a tortoise on my right. I wanted to deal with the Leo first, however he is a clever and sneaky Leo, and he has already run off from that spot. Obviously, as we know, staying in the same spot with the Leo is a bad move. But here is the tortoise, which is why I'm loading heat, because I want to get through that cheek, but I can't. He backs up. Now my team are in trouble behind there. I have no idea where that Leo is, and I want to deal with this tortoise who is right in front of me. So what I decided is to go down the hill, and I want to deal with the E100. As I say that, both my tanks on my team are consecutively knocked out one after another. And there is the Leo on virtually full health. And here comes the tortoise. And there's an E100 down there as well. Great! Okay, we've got one into the tortoise, and I'm angling away from him, and I'm backing up and now forward so he can't get to my lower plate. Now that he's shot and backing up, it gives me chance to run away. And you'll notice I'm looking right, because we saw that Leo flying up the hill. And there he is. So I'm going to load a HE, and if we get around, yep. That's 1,000 damage straight into the side of that Leo. And my priority now is making sure this Leo does not circle me. And I need to deal with this guy quickly, otherwise I am nailed. Both the other tanks can see me dealing with this and they are pushing in. So we do manage to get one straight into the side of the Leo and he dies just about somewhere we can use his dead corpse as cover. And I need to take one of these tanks out quickly. However, the Tortoise has been very clever hiding behind the rock and the E100 is going for it. He has a lot more health. You'll notice I'm being very slow in carefully placing my shot here. I need to make every single one count. As soon as I have shot, that Tortoise has come out of his cover and the E100 is pushing again. I am using the dead Leo as cover to side scrape off him, which means the E100 has to come further out, which means I do manage to get one straight into his lower plate. I could have gone straight through him with AP, but in the situation, you panic a little bit and you just fire whatever's loaded. But I have loaded the AP here now, and straight through his hatch with the AP, no problem at all. And we are also in a position where he can do nothing but track damage, because we have him pinned on the right-hand side, which is great, because he's just doing his track damage. I've just got my adrenaline up, and we're going to use the HE just to guarantee the kill, even if it does damage my gun. It's the end of the match, though, so who cares? So we got 4 kills in that one, and when it eventually loads, we got what I was very pleased with, which is 8,214 damage, a mastery badge, Top Gun, high caliber, steel wall, and a Kolobanovs. I was very pleased with that match. For obvious reasons, it's a lot of damage. I was happy. Obviously, I hope you've enjoyed watching these replays, and I hope some of the information in the video was useful. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.